Okay, so yesterday I had you guys, we ended our lesson with discovering, finding the cause and effect in paragraphs 3 and 4 of the Nile story. Okay, and I said you could use highlighters if you wanted to, you didn't have to, and it didn't have to be the same color as mine. So today, I told you that there was at least 2 that I saw as I read through it. There could be more, but there was at least 2. The biggest thing that I think a lot of us had an issue with was just finding the signal words and circling them. So we're going to walk through it, see if you found the same ones I found, and then we'll go on from there. So this was the activity you did yesterday at the end of the day, or at the end of our lesson, okay? So follow along up here, Layton, or follow along on your paper. I don't care which one, okay? It says the Nile River provided many sources of food. Farming was important because the river flooded each year. The ancient Egyptians could plan their growing seasons. They planted grain crops in the rich soil. They also planted fruit and vegetables. Often the Egyptians grew more food than they needed. As a result, they could store food to feed animals. Egyptians raised animals such as donkeys, sheep, goats, ducks, and geese. They used some of these animals for meat. Wildlife was another important food source. The marsh areas around the Nile were home to birds, fish, antelope, and even lions. So the ancient Egyptians hunted these animals for food. So the very first thing that I noticed as I was reading this is I found at least 2 signal words. Did you find them? I saw this one. And I saw this one. Did you see those 2? I did see this one too. Sometimes that one can tend to be a signal word as well. Just depends on the sentence. Okay, so I found the signal words. So now what I want to do is I want to go up into those areas where I found the signal words and see if I can find a cause and effect relationship there. More than likely you're going to because of the signal words. So up here it said farming was important because the river flooded each year. The ancient Egyptians could plan their growing season. So this sentence right here is what I was reading. Do we have a cause and effect relationship there? Remember, cause is why did it happen, and effect is what happened. So sometimes you need to, I got a phone call, I'm going to pause going. All right, so let's work backwards here. So farming was important because the river flooded each year. The ancient Egyptians could plan their growing season. Let's do the what happened first. Let's do the effect in that sentence. What would be the what happened? What would be the effect? What would be the effect? Hayes? All right, there's your effect right there. So this would be highlighted, whatever color your effect is, that part. And then after you've figured out what happened, then you have to ask yourself, why did it happen? That's your cause. Layton, why did this happen? Because the river flooded each year. There you go. That should be what you write on your paper. If you don't have a highlighter, then just underline it. Label it C, label it E. That's fine. I don't care. Not a big deal. There's highlighters back there if you really want them. But again, here's your effect. Here's the cause of what happened. The result is this, the result of it. The what? Okay. So now we look down here at what you're saying as a result. Remember, result and effect can technically be the same thing. This is a different one. This one says, as a result, they could store food to feed animals. Egyptians. Oh, let me back up. Let me go here. Often the Egyptians grew more food than they needed. As a result, they could store food to feed animals. So I started here and then I ended here. So as a result, your signal word. So my first question to you is, what happened? What happened? I guess it's orange. What happened? Nolan? Okay, so they could store food to feed animals. That's your effect. And then your cause, George, your cause is going to be, why did it happen? So why did they could store food to feed animals? Why did that happen? Because they had more food than they needed, which was right here. So there's your cause. Okay. How many of you guys from yesterday, how many of you guys were able to identify those two? Okay, got some hands. That's good. Awesome. Did anybody find others to identify? All right, Jace, what was your other one you found? Okay, so down here. Okay, so wildlife was another important food source. The marsh areas around the Nile were home to birds, fish, antelope, and even lions. So the ancient Egyptians hunted these animals for food. Okay, so my first question is, what happened? Okay, so this right here, ancient Egyptians hunted these animals for food. And then why did it happen? Because the marsh areas around them were home to these animals. Or you could even add in this part too if you wanted to. But there you go. How many of you guys, show of thumbs up, thumbs down, have a pretty good idea of how to identify cause and effect relationships? Maybe we're still a little murky. Okay, got a lot of thumbs up. That's good. All right, we're going to go ahead and flip over to the one that you just drew that graph on. The ones in Mrs. Motes' class, you guys who are watching, what I need you to do is go to page 165 or paragraphs 5 and 6. Pause this video for just a minute and go ahead and redraw this graph underneath your paper. My class had already done it previously to starting the video. Okay. All right, real quick review. Again, just a real quick review before we do this. The effect is what? It's not on your paper. I didn't write it down, but what's the effect? What is the question that you're going to ask yourself with the effect? Stop it. What happened? Effect is what happened. If you have to, jot it down up there if you need to. Effect is what happened, and what is the cause? Cause is what, Hayes? Why it happens. Okay. So, and again, the signal words and the phrases that show cause and effect relationships can be words like because, as a result of, so, therefore. Those can all be signal words to cause and effect relationships, okay? Sometimes cause and effect relationships are stated directly, like we were practicing in the other passages. Sometimes they're actually there, but other times they're just inferred, which is a little bit harder, okay? And you also have to think about your effect may have more than one cause, and then that cause may create another effect. So you end up having like this cause and effect chain reaction going on. Okay, kind of like dominoes. All right. So this is going to be an example of one thing that happened and then it causes multiple things. There's multiple things that happen and then there's, a cause to it. One cause, multiple effects. So this is the example that we're going to work on today. So real quickly, let's go through paragraphs 5 and 6. Let's read through them real fast. And then let's see if we can come up with the cause and the multiple effects in this paragraph, okay? The Nile River was also important to ancient Egyptians for supplies. Egyptians used the plants growing in the marshes near the Nile for food as well as for materials and tools. One of these plants was papyrus. This thin plant can grow nearly 15 feet, about 4.6 meters, high. Strips from its stem can be made into a strong cloth. Therefore, ancient Egyptians used this material to make rope, sails, sandals, and even clothing. Most importantly, ancient Egyptians used papyrus to make paper. Papyrus was an excellent material for paper. Strips from papyrus stems could be layered together. Then the sap from the plants acted like glue. The strips dried in white sheets in the sun. Papyrus paper became the main writing material in ancient Egypt. Egypt sold it over countries. Let me try that again. Egypt sold it Egypt sold it to other countries as well. There we go. Okay. That was a struggle bus moment. Okay, here we go. So, all right. So let's ask ourselves a question here, because again, we have to just fill this out to the best of our roller coaster. Sorry, lost you. Okay. So here we go. Ready? Okay. Did it tell us what to, or this was the other? No. Okay. All right. So here we go. So why did it happen? What happened? So let's think about what we just read here. Okay. Did we see any signal words at all? Yeah. Therefore. Did we see any more? Shh. I didn't see very many. I just saw this one right here. Okay. So the Nile River was also important to ancient Egypt for supplies. Egyptians used the plants growing in the marshes near the Nile for food as well as material and tools. One of these plants was papyrus. This thin plant can grow nearly 15 feet. Strips from its stem can be made into strong cloth. Ancient Egyptians used this material to make rope. It's kind of like main ideas and supporting details here. So when you're looking at this, it's talking about all of the things that papyrus can do. So if you think about in this paragraph, these two paragraphs, what happened, the effects of it, you're going to think about the uses of papyrus. And there are quite a few uses that papyrus can be used for. And then when you think about the uses, then you think about why did it happen? Why did they have so many uses for papyrus? Why did they have so many uses for papyrus? That's where you're going to put, that's what you're going to put right here. Why did they have so many uses for papyrus? Why do they have so many uses for it? Yeah. George? No, why did they have so many uses for it? Why did they have so many uses for it? Jocelyn? Okay, that would probably be with the what happened, wouldn't it? That would be like the what you could use it for. If you have all of these uses for papyrus and more, then why did it happen? Why did they have so many uses? It's because what? Papyrus did what? Papyrus grew nearby, right? So you're going to put papyrus grew nearby. And one of the main things was it made strong cloth. So papyrus grew nearby and it made strong cloth. So then you think about, okay, so if it makes strong cloth, what happened with that strong cloth? What did we make? What can we make with papyrus? There's 4 different things. Hold on. One at a time. Jace, did you have something? Okay. So Egyptians used papyrus. I'm going to run out of room. Hopefully you don't. To make sails. What was another thing they used it for? Another effect of having papyrus nearby. Nolan? Rope? You can literally say the same thing and just say rope. That means it's the exact same sentence, only you put rope instead of sails. What's another one, Layton?
Another one would be
sails, rope. What are 2 other things that they use papyrus for? Well, we're focusing on the strong cloth. Okay, stop guessing. Look at the text, buddy. It tells you in the text. Ruby? Clothes. Same sentence. Only instead of sails or rope, you put clothing. What's another thing they use? Bow. Sandals. There you go. And I think that's it. All part of the strong cloth section. Okay. Does this make a little sense when you have multiple effects, guys? I hope so. We'll keep working on this tomorrow too. My kiddos in Mrs. Moat's class, make sure you have this all copied down like we did today, and then you guys can go ahead and start your independent work that Mrs. D explains to you. See you tomorrow. Bye.